Hi, this is Udi. I just want to show you Rapid by Parawaves. This is a really, really good synth and I really like it and you'll see why. So let's have a look. First of all, I'm gonna do a very quick rundown of what it is that you're looking at and then we'll dive into the details. And hopefully you'll get the idea and I'm sure you like it. So let's have a look. First of all, this is a very unique synth in a sense that you have 8 layers. Each one can be just any of the 3 oscillators or combination of them. So all in all, a lot of oscillation running around. And each of these layers can have its own filters, inserts, envelopes, LFOs, sequencers, arpeggiators, and effects. And on top of all of that, you have all kinds of modulation options. So when you go to the mixer here, you can just blend in all these layers 1 to 8. You have a compressor, just an overall compressor, and you can also see the waveform that is just going out from the main output. So this is really cool. You can also set the keyboard for different layers. So you can have one layer, for example, going just to C4, and the other one from C4 to to whatever C9 and so on. All right, so I'm playing now on the high notes, and layer 1 isn't it just doesn't play. So I definitely can have one voice, one preset running for my left hand, and something else running for my right hand. This is really cool. So just going back to the default here. And what else? So you have all kinds of overall controls here. You have the overall pitch, and you have the mix modifier, which is you have the voice and delay and reverb, which will affect all the delays, all the reverbs, all the all the volumes. You have a general envelope here, and you have a filter envelope here, and so on. So this is general, and it runs on top of all the layers. So now let's dive into the actual work and see how these layers actually built. So in each layer you have 3 oscillators, and these oscillators are most likely be a wavetable, okay, because this is the engine of the synth here. When I click this box here, I get just enormous amount of options. I have all these wavetables and all kinds of multi-samples, and I can just let's take something, Love 1. I don't know what that is, and here it is. It's loaded. So I'm just gonna shut down the other layer. So this is what's going on here, and you can already see that it is set to 1 octave up. And take it down. So this is the octave. And what else? If I click, I can see the wavetable. This is really cool. And you see a morph. The morph number here, this is my index. Right? So I'm just morphing my wave here. What else? So each of these 3 oscillators can have up to 8 voices, and I can spread them, and I can detune them, and I can also add some bass and treble here. And I can just insert some modulation right into the oscillator. So the FX type here is phase modulation, and I can select any of these. This is just amazing. So you have ring modulation, for example. have an asymmetric clip. I can have you know, any of these. So I can have a mirror. Right, and so you have all of these options times 3, right, for each of these oscillators. Very, very cool. So all these oscillators are just routed to my filter, and this is really a very useful filter. You have low pass, high pass, band pass, you have acid low pass, I don't know what that is, and you have comb filtering, and you have 2 types of formants. Let's just select one of these. Let's just take one of the basic presets. I'll just take whatever. Let's take a square. And it sounds good already. And this is just one layer. And what you see here is that the filter, first of all, you can turn it on and off. You have the cutoff, you have some treble here, and you have resonance, you have an envelope, and a key follow. And next you have insert, so I can just place whatever whatever effect I want. For example, let's just place an overdrive. And I can mix it in. And I also have an option to select if I want the filter and then my insert, or the insert and then the filter. Very, very, very useful. And you also have panning here. Double click, back to 0. So that's already a lot of useful features. And now we're getting to the meat of it. So we have all kinds of ways to modulate our parameters here, and the basic stuff is envelopes, LFOs. It gets more complicated and more creative with the sequence, right? That's the LFOs, sequences, and you have an arpeggiator. Very, very useful. And this little V here, that's my view. That's my output wave form. So how do you actually modulate any of these parameters? For example, let's say I want to modulate the morph index here. So let's just go to 3-dimension here. And all I need to do is go, let's take one of these LFOs and just click this route and just drop it on the morph. So that's just one option. So now let's go to LFO1. This is what I'm seeing here. And you can also see this here. Immediately you see on the bottom, you see all these routings. And you have up to 33 routing options. So we're back to our little slot here. That's R5. And I can see LFO-A modulating the target oscillator A morph. And you can see it in action here. And this is the amount. It's 67, right? I can go all the way to plus 100. That's the full amount that the LFO will modulate the morph, and I can be a little less about it. So, and if we're talking about LFOs, you have all the usual suspects. You have delay, which will delay the LFO, and you have fading, you have levels, and you have also a way to go from bipolar to unipolar. You can see that the morph will go in one direction. It's easier to see, for example, in the filters. So let's take envelope LFO-B, and I'll just click that and drop it on the cutoff. and you can see that I'm going in both directions, bipolar. If I click that, you'll see I'm going just in one direction, and I can go all the way to minus here, and you'll see I'm going to the other direction. And green means that I'm modulating this part. And by the way, if you install this and you see something else, that's because we have all kinds of themes. So I've chosen the flat neon. You can select whatever, and it will look pretty much the same, but probably different colors. So that's that might be a different. So other things that you have here, you have actually two waves here. You have two sines. I can select whatever. Let's take something else, and I'm just cross-fading between them. Right, so this is the way to do modulations. I can take envelope D, for example, and I can modulate let's modulate the resonance. I'm just dragging and dropping this here. Right, and so on. So that's the basic idea of the modulations. And now let's go down to the effects, and we'll finish off with the sequencer and the arpeggiator. So the effects here are pretty cool. You have 8 options here, 8 slots, and already we have dual delay and a reverb. So I can change that to something else. I just select this slot, and here I'll take a different type, and you see all these options. You have bit crusher and a distortion shaper, and really excellent selection of effects here. We have a talker. What's that? And each one of them actually comes with a preset, so that's pretty cool. Let's also add the reverb back. And one of the coolest effects that I've seen here is the tape stop. Look at that. And you can actually modulate that. You can actually go and select whatever sequence or LFO, whatever you want to modulate the stop button here. That's really cool. So moving next, let's have a look at the sequence. And what you have here is a kind of a function or something similar to what you find in Arturia's pigments as function. So right now you see all these little things here, and what happens is if we modulate, for example, let's modulate the volume of oscillator A. So the volume will go up and down according to whatever going on here. So let's just take let's just have like 4 steps. But I can select different presets here. That's very useful just to check out whatever they have for us. And we actually modulating the volume according to whatever is going on here. So that's the idea of the sequencer, and we also have arpeggiator. Let's just select something here. Let's get, for example, let's get a bass line. You can see the volume here. And what, something really cool, I haven't seen that, but in other synths, maybe I've missed that, but you can actually drop a MIDI file and have this arpeggiator set to whatever MIDI file that you already have. All right, so what you need to do is select any of these parts here, and you can set the velocity here. You can also set the shuffle. Right, very, very useful. And next, so right now we've seen, most of the options here, and that's already very, very cool because you have it all in one page. And then if you want to add other layers, no problems. You can just click on this layer, and you just need to activate it. And that's just about that. So I think we've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover, and obviously there's a lot to do with this synth, and I'm already very excited. So I think what will make sense now is just to go through some of the presets, and and finish with that. So enjoy, and again, thank you very much. Subscribe, and leave me any comments if you have questions. See you next video.